Hi, this is Amy Derrick. I am here interviewing my husband Josh for my group Wiki. And our group Wiki is about the misconceptions of nursing. And we wanted to ask you some questions as kind of a public figure that might have a better image of nursing than we might have since we're a little biased.
Okay.
So, my first question, if you could summarize your image of nursing into one word, what would that one word be?
I would say stressful.
Now, stressful. Why would you say that that's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of nurses?
Well, nurses, as far as my interactions and from what I've seen of nurses, every time I've interacted with a nurse, they just seem stressed out.
They're stressed out?
Yeah, I don't know too much about nursing, but just like I said, from my personal interactions, it seems like they have a lot to do with every patient and a lot of patients to deal with. And I'm sure that going from one detail to another, making sure they don't miss anything, gets to be stressful. And with people, yanking on the nurses all the time, I'm sure doesn't help. But stressful, definitely.
Stressful. Okay. So you said with the interactions with nurses that you've had, can you tell us about one of those interactions with nurses? Maybe you were a patient or a family member was a patient?
My aunt was in a nursing home for several years, and the times that I would visit, and I would need to go get a nurse either to give her medicine or help her with any kind of issue she was having. Every time I had an interaction with a nurse, it's just been very rude. For sure, I would call that acceptable. I understand they're stressed out, but then it seems like there should be a fine line between, being stressed out but still being holding some kind of being nice to people that you don't know, or at least working on interaction communication rather than just being rude and shrugging your shoulders, rolling your eyes, grunting, so forth and so on.
So it kind of seemed like they didn't have enough time. That was kind of the perception you got there. They didn't have enough time for you.
Well, it was kind of the perception. It's like, well, this is just one more thing I got to do. One more person that keeps complaining, so I got to go take care of them.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, what kind of impression would that give you about nurses? I mean, would that make you feel like, okay, well, if that's how most of these nurses act, is that kind of a general conception of nurses that you get?
It is, because it's not been with one or two particular, it's been as nurses in general. It actually retracts me from wanting to try and work with them. Not try and work with them as in going to get them for help if somebody needs it. Speaking with them about things. I feel like if they're going to be rude about things, I'd rather not bother.
Wow. Okay. So, with that in mind, what kind of advice could you give us future nurses and us nursing students as we kind of go out into the world and try and make this happen?
I would definitely learn, not necessarily anger management because that seems extreme, but maybe stress management.
Okay.
A way to deal with the stress without being rude and being just being a nasty person to somebody just because you're stressed out and you're annoyed or irritated. Because to me, it just seems like if somebody was yanking on me for something and I just shrugged them off like, oh my God, it's just one more thing I got to deal with. You never know what that person's going through. They could have a serious situation. You could be what makes a difference in their life. And if you give them the impression that you just are being annoying and irritating and they push you away, then who's to say what happens in that other person's life?
Wow, that is really something to think about. Well, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we can take these things that we've heard and apply them to our walk through nursing school to hopefully be better nurses.
All right, you're welcome.
We'll see you guys later.